Happy New Year! Hello, and welcome back to my YouTube channel, or welcome if you're new. I am Julia. I'm a Buffalo-based content creator, and I love making videos about lifestyle, fashion, hauls and unboxings, travel, life as a business owner, life with celiac. And today I want to do a video specifically about goal setting because it is the first of the year, and I bet a lot of you guys are thinking about setting goals, New Year's resolutions, all the things. So I figured, why not dive into it? It would not be a Julia video if the dog did not interrupt. Right, Gouda? You want to come up? You want to be a part of the video? Lay down. What a good boy. So I am Julia, this is my dog Gouda, if you're new. And let's talk about goal setting. So because it is the first of the year, I figured today would be the perfect time to make a video all about setting goals and thinking about your New Year's resolutions. So when it comes to setting goals and having an epic 2025, I want you to think about breaking this all down into 3 different categories. The first category or phase is reflection. The second category or phase is creation. And the third category or phase is planning. It is taking the action items that you've gotten clear on. So let's dive into each of these phases. The first phase is all about reflection. This is time for you to get quiet. I love doing a business retreat, and if you've been following my channel for a while, you know that that is an annual practice of mine. I take time away from my apartment, I get really quiet, I take myself to a nice resort, and I really take time to tune out all distractions. I put my phone away, put my laptop away, I don't take client meetings, and I get really clear on doing reflection. I have created a form for myself that lists out a whole number of questions that I take myself through as part of my reflection time. Regardless of the questions that you ask yourself and the way that you reflect, I highly recommend adding a little bit of structure to this reflection time. It helps to add a specific amount of time that you're going to take, because if you leave it as an open-ended thing, this phase is going to take too long. So I recommend having 3 days, maybe 4 days, max a week that you're going to spend in the reflection phase. During the reflection phase, not only are you going to get quiet and tune out distractions, but you're going to get very clear on answering specific questions that you've set out for yourself. That's where part of the structure comes in. Your questions don't have to be the same as my questions, right? Your questions are probably going to be customized to you, your values, your interests, your business structure and industry. But here are a few questions to help get you started in your reflection phase / reflection time. Number 1, what am I most proud of in this past year? Number 2, what are some lessons that I've learned over the last year? Number 3, who are some of my favorite clients right now and why? Number 4, who are some people that I'd like to work with or collaborate with in 2025? Number 5, what parts of my work bring me the most joy? Number 6, what gives and depletes my energy in my business? Those are just a few questions that you can use to start to reflect and get really clear on really important things. What are you proud of? What are you learning? What lessons are you walking into next year with? Who do you want to seek out to work with? These are really important things that are going to help move you forward in your business, regardless of the industry that you work in. So now that you've spent some time doing reflection and getting quiet, and you had that time as a specific kind of time-bound time, we move into phase 2, which is all about like the creativity and the brainstorming. The reflection has to happen first because you need all of that information to then set the tone for phase 2, which is where you're starting to set some goals. You're starting to really think about what is it that you want to achieve. So phase 2 is your goal setting time. This is when you're getting really clear on exactly what it is that you would like to achieve in 2025. Just like in phase 1, I recommend having a specific amount of time that you are in your goal setting / creative brainstorming phase. I recommend a few days, max a week. During this phase, you're going to ask yourself again a bunch of questions. Walking into these phases with specific intentions of the time spent and what you're going to get out of it is so important, because that is how you maximize your goal setting for the next year. So in your creative brainstorming, phase, you're gonna start to get very, very clear on your goals. And you're not just gonna think of these broad, nebulous, general goals. You wanna really think about SMART goals. SMART meaning an acronym. So SMART, specific, measurable, action-oriented, relevant, and time-bound. Those are the 5 key elements to making your goals good. Because if they're not specific, if they're not measurable, if they're not action-oriented, if they're not, was it relevant, I think? If they're not relevant to you, and if they're not time-bound, they're not gonna happen, right? So your goals need to be specific. You really want to seek out. So for example, I want to get monetized on YouTube and have the monetization process and all of that stuff go through by the end of January 2025. That is a major goal of mine. I have a specific action that needs to be taken on my part. There are certain things that I need to do. And by saying I want it to happen by the end of January 2025, I create that time-bound structure, which then creates the motivation in me to start to plot out what are the action steps that I need to take in order to achieve that goal. That's going to be what we do in phase 3. For phase 2, all we're doing right now is creating those goals, thinking of what those really specific and important for us goals are for our life and business. Yours are going to be totally different than mine, right? Because we're all in different phases of our businesses and our lives, right? I'm somewhat newly married. Matt and I got married in August. I have specific goals for our partnership. I have goals for the big party that we're planning in August as our 1-year anniversary party. I have goals for how I'm showing up as a daughter and as a sister and as a friend, a community member. I have goals for how I want to get more engaged in my community. I have goals for being a dog mom and ways that I want to enrich Gouda and have us bond more and have new experiences together and do things that I think would be really good for him and really stimulating and fun. I have goals for my business from a revenue standpoint, from a client standpoint, from a feeling standpoint, from a metrics standpoint. I have goals for each of my different clients when it comes to their metrics, when it comes to how they're feeling and how they're progressing towards their goals. And so taking time, I recommend a few days to get very specific on your goals, what they are, why they matter. That is critical because that is then how we move into phase 3. Phase 3 is action oriented. Phase 3 is plotting, mapping out things on the calendar so that we can really dive into what it is you have to do to achieve your goals. So phase 3 is all about taking the goals you established in phase 2 and kind of laying them out in front of you. Let's say you've made 5 big goals, or maybe you have 10 goals. I don't recommend having more than 10 goals for the year, or maybe 12. Maybe you have 1 goal per month, and that's kind of how you slice it. But don't go crazy, right? Your list of 50 goals is not likely realistic, especially for the work that I'm gonna suggest that we do. So let's say you've got 5 goals, 7 goals, maybe 12 goals max. What you're gonna do is you're gonna essentially think of each goal as its own thing and write it down on a piece of paper. Then what you're gonna start to do is under the goal on this piece of paper, you're gonna start to jot down specific action steps that you need to take in order to get to that goal. Bonus points for you, gold star, if you start to write those action steps in order in which they need to happen. That's gonna make your life tremendously easier. But for right now, you don't have to do that. Just brain dump it. You'll be able to add the order and structure to it later. So just brain dump all those action steps. Once you have all of your goals and all the action steps, the next step is to add on this piece of paper, when are these goals due? Look at the time boundness that you created in phase 2 for each of these goals. Start to think about how you're gonna map and plot these goals out on a calendar. So maybe you have a goal that, like is the end of January. That goal needs to be pushed kind of towards the start versus a goal that I have in terms of planning for our party and all that kind of stuff. Our party isn't until August. So there are a number of things that I actually don't need to get done. There are a few I need to get done in January, but there aren't a tremendous amount of action steps that I need to take in January as it relates to our August party. So I'm gonna front load my January action items. Those are gonna be predominantly the things I need to do to get myself monetized on YouTube and the few little things that I have for our party in August. And again, By having all of your goals on distinct pieces of paper, you can look at them all and you're able to start to really figure out, okay, what needs to happen when? And that is moving into this kind of final phase of plotting and planning. So the final phase of all of this, of phase 3, is mapping it all out on your calendar, literally taking your calendar out and having all of your goals sheets right in front of you so that you can start to map out the specific action items. And I mean, get as nitty gritty and granular as to writing out what action items you are getting done on what specific days in your calendar. When I tell you that this 3-phase way of goal setting, of working towards your goals, of plotting and planning and taking action on the things that matter most to you, this will change your life. I promise if you do this fully, you are absolutely going to see a shift in your reality and you're going to feel a shift inside of you. You're gonna feel different inside. You're gonna feel more motivated. You're gonna feel more accountable. You're gonna feel more excited and determined more than you ever have before. Because a lot of where people fall short when it comes to setting goals is they fail to figure out what are all the nitty-gritty actions that are associated with that goal so that those can be mapped out, because it's very easy to plan for something big. It's a lot harder and it requires a lot more detail-oriented thinking to figure out the logistics of what you need to do. But I will say, I feel very grateful to have a brain that is oriented in both the big picture and the nitty-gritty. I'm very good at coming up with the big picture goals, and I'm also very good at getting down into the nitty-gritty. And so if your brain is not oriented like this, it is so important for you to connect with someone who is. That's why I offer coaching, is because a lot of my clients are very big picture thinkers and then they fail to get to the nitty-gritty and then implement the nitty-gritty. So that's why I work with them to help them do those things, right? But whether it's a friend, a family member, whether it's me, you want to call someone. If you are that big picture thinker, you want to call someone who can help you figure out what are those action steps so that you are setting yourself up for success. Because I just have such a good feeling that 2025 is going to be an incredible year. 2024 was unbelievable, truly unbelievable. And I can't wait to make my 2024 recap video for you guys. It's coming out on the channel very soon because I'm recording it very soon. But this is so important. Goal setting, putting yourself on the path of success by making yourself able to achieve the things you want to do. There's nothing more empowering and exciting than that. So if you guys made it until this point in the video, hit the thumbs up. Incredible. I should be hitting the thumbs up for you because I appreciate you being here. Thank you so much. Don't forget to hit the bell and subscribe so you don't miss out on future videos. And I am so excited to see what you do this year. I can't wait to see what 2025 brings for you because it is going to be unbelievable. Like, just unfreaking believable. 2024 was without a doubt the best year of my life, and I have a feeling that 2025 is going to be even better. So I'll see you guys in the next one. Right? Oh, thank you for stretching on me. Oh, thank you. It would not be a Julia video if this little guy did not interrupt us, so. You look very sleepy. You look very sleepy, honey.